Welcome. This is the weekly crypto webinar for subscribers, monthly public for those that are not in the service. We do this every week, and I'll just say very quickly, if you're new to this or you've been watching these for a while and you're interested in the service, do check it out. You can check out my Twitter profile, and it's got links. Free trials are offered, and we're not an organization that's going to spam you, call you, bug you about it, so there's no risk there. Anyway, we go through this usual kind of pattern. Go through Bitcoin, Ether, GBTC, Ether, Bitcoin pair, and now BIDO on kind of a macro basis, best we can. Take it down to the hourly. And then what I do is I'll stop it for questions. Then I run through weekly charts that I have on a weekly report that I post. They're sort of the charts that I'm either stocking or trading. I think I put them all in the category of trading, even though I think subscribers know not true. I'm just too lazy to sort of move them back and forth between stocking and trading. But I'm always explicit about what I'm doing with them, best I possibly can. So we'll run through those. We have requests, and I'll be honest with you guys. So first of all, I don't take new requests in the question box. Also, if you're public, or even if you're in other Elliott Wave Trader services, I remain sort of the rights of subscribers to post requests. The problem today is we have a pile of them, and I'll be really honest with you guys. A lot of these are not terribly useful or have been very well covered. So, and I want to make sure, especially when we got a public webinar, that we make this as useful of a time as possible. And I may even skip some of my charts on the weekly side, just try to make this time efficient. So if I pass over your charts and it's a request, I promise I will post it on the board channel after the webinar so that you have it. And if there's something I really didn't cover, let's get a discussion going. Happy to talk about it. But a lot of these have been fairly well covered. Again, some of them are charts I just really don't like, and so I can be a bit terse or dismissive of them. But hey, you can push me. You can always push me on this or that. I'm a very fastidious person about what I trade, but I'm very happy. And again, some of you guys have a good time fading my points of view. Hey, all good. There's no ego here. So I'll post those, and then you could have discussion. I would say too, if you have put in a request and you have a specific question, then I'm game. That's a useful use of this time. Just write in there, hey, I requested X. Can you please look at this or that? Again, specific questions. I always ask the question. If you don't have a specific question, then why is it a request? Just again to make everything super productive. Jason and I cover tons and tons of charts, and we want to make the whole service efficient as best we can. Otherwise, the whole machine bogs down. All right, that's the game plan. Let's see. Oh, okay. So bottom line, let's talk about this market real quick. And bottom line, big picture. Of course, Bitcoin is in a bull market. If you listen to podcasts even before this breakout, they thought it was a bear market, even though we were looking for a corrective pullback that's turned into a breakout, which is what we got, maybe a little earlier than we wanted, right? We were looking for a little deeper, but hey, markets sometimes, but at the same time, the basic quote unquote plan that Jason and I expected did come to play, just maybe a tad bit earlier. But in the midst of the crowd out there said, hey, we're in a bear market. They were looking for whatever rates to come down or waiting for whatever this or that to happen before they expected, and we were just following the charts. It was pretty simple. We were well over double over the 2022 lows, or 2023 low in Bitcoin. Now I think what's changed. Oh, and then another thing is we'll talk about it a little bit more as we go along. But at the same time, I expect Bitcoin to be kind of stuck in this zone for a couple months. That's an opportunity to accumulate. We might get a little, it's struggling to get this last high that we hope for, but irregardless, we should be in a range between 27K and 42K for the next probably couple months. Again, that's a big range, but basically I'm saying it's going to chop back and forth in that range. That's again an opportunity to take, you can even scalp the range, which I always do a little bit. But collect the main task for me is personally to collect a little bit more Bitcoin. A little bit more Ether too, of course. But I think what the big thing is that alts are waking up. So we've got a nice, alt season. I'm going to say just in general, remember the altcoin game plan. If you've got bags from last bear market, please don't expect them to come back. That's just very nature. It depends on the chart, okay? And when I say expect, doesn't mean it's a given that your favorite shitcoin from 2021 is going to finally come back. How many cycles have I been through now? I've been in this game now since 2012. They don't always come back, okay? And in fact, that's the nature of altcoins, X Ether, and maybe X BNB, perhaps X Aave. I don't know. There's a few of them that are kicking against the goats, but 99% of them don't come back when they start the dumpster fire setups. So don't expect them to. Okay, if you're holding bags, I'm sorry. It would probably be first. Again, I cannot make personal recommendations to anybody, but as I've learned myself, it is personally more productive to get rid of the bags so that you don't have the weight on you, to get on those charts that are beautiful, breaking out, etc., so that you can make that money back faster. You're not going to make money back in your old bags that are not coming back. I do my best to, I'm sometimes wrong when I say something's not coming back, but by and large, pretty good record. Okay, and again, some people may disagree because they had that one shitcoin they got rid of and it broke out anyway. Whatever. Again, none of these things are personal recommendations. I just give you my take. But I can say 99. It's pretty clear that 99% of shitcoins do not survive the second cycle, right? Except for some special cases, and those cases are extremely, extremely few. So you're looking for the needle in the haystack if you're expecting your bags to come back. Be productive about your trading. Grab the skew. If you know what I mean by skew, happy to elaborate on that when it comes. And try not to hold the weights on your ankles. Does it make sense? I mean, I hope that everyone's in that mindset. I mean, I think mindset's super important. So if any questions about that, I'm not necessarily going to answer 1,000 questions around the shitcoin. If you're coming in from Twitter and I'm not covering the chart and you ask me a question on it, I might give you a quick take, but I'm not going to pull open the chart and go over it because we just have too much to cover today. And that's normal. That's normal to these webinars when the market starts to get exciting, which it really is right now. All right. Bitcoin, let's jump in, and I'll get questions after I get through the first few charts. Been asking for 125 forever. We'll get there. Right now, we're working up to it, best we can tell. The only thing is, again, this is where Jason and I wanted to go a little bit lower, stayed very shallow. People were calling it a bear market all through here, and as soon as we saw this structure, Jason and I knew that the game was on. And we work up to a breakout. Now that we have a breakout, it's time for consolidation, okay? Not just because of general principles that once you get breakout, there's often consolidation, but we've got basically finishing some form of 5 waves. I would prefer that, before I jump into that, you'll notice, so I do expect 125, but you'll see an alternate, which I'll look at a little bit closer when we get into the micro, but there is potential to get a C, B, and then C up into that space, and that's based on the move from 2018 potentially being an ending diagonal. I can argue it back and forth even within myself, so it's not really terribly relevant right here and now, but it's something we're going to have to watch. Regardless, doesn't change the fact that it's a bear market. There is bull market. There is an outside chance that we form a large diagonal that would be emblematic of a C wave, and that would be a heck of a lot of sideways. Gets a little, I think probability we can say as we get closer to halving that may be unlikely, right? Because to fit a triangle in here as you get into halving would be historically impossible. Again, I maintain that someday the halving cycle will probably not work. I know. The crowd gasps, right? It's a thing that everyone expects, even I expect to a degree, but ultimately I trade charts simply so that I know when it's not going to work. But right now it seems to be working. We're approaching halving. We're breaking out, not breaking out the all-time high, but we're breaking out of recent consolidation, pushing higher within the large range since 265, and I do expect that range to break to the upside, and I do expect to see 25K. The question to me is path how we get there. The only caveat I would say is if we break 27 for the circle 2, definitely becomes a question. We have another support level into the 18 region. That breaks, we go on here. Okay, I always know what's going to kill me. Okay, I don't expect those to break, but the market does not care what I expect, right? If it starts to challenge support, we got to get our eyes open. Right now, it's having a hard time, challenging any support, even the most micro support. So it is a bull market so far. Again, this can change. I never claim to have a crystal ball. I simply know to where key levels are. That's it. And trading against those levels, right? There's no crystal balls in this game, but we can make reasonable probabilistic statements about the market, trade accordingly, manage our risk, and increase our returns. So pretty simple as long as you have the right mindset. All right, zooming in. Again, I maintain that we are due for a wave 2 pullback. It is potential that we had an anemic fifth on this at this B wave, but I still prefer for us to kind of skirt our way up into 41 for this more complete circle one. Again, if we don't, we don't. I've taken substantial profit already myself. At the same time, I'm in the mode of buying every dip, basically. So, but I'm a little bit lighter since we got up in the space. I tweeted that even. So I don't want to like completely tease all of this. Now, one warning is, again, this is where we talk about the C wave. There's a reliable concept in Fibonacci pinball, which is sort of Avi's version of Elliott wave theory. And it's incredibly reliable, particularly in crypto, that if you do not finish the first of a third by the 618, and even more definitely the 764, okay, you can see where my cursor is. It is not a first of a third, but likely a C wave, and that's why I have a C wave alternative, and also I talked about why the context for this. So in my view, it is very important that we finish 5 waves before we get to 42.4. It's already a little bit scary that we may not have finished 5 waves right at the 38.3 region, so we're just below that. So if this is an anemic 5th wave here, great. It doesn't look like it though, and I'd rather have a stronger 5th wave, and I want it to finish by 42. If we start poking over that, it is potential that we're breaking out into the 3rd, but more likely, structurally speaking, we are more likely in the C. Okay. Again, it's an incredibly reliable Fibonacci pinball principle. Its actual accuracy in crypto is probably about 100%. The only question is the interpretation of the analysis. I can read structural things wrong. It happens, but it is just simply one of those weird mathematical principles in that I believe plays out in the market too, plays out in gold and all of that stuff. But I just rely on my team's accounts for trading more often, and then I just add my own technicals. So I can't say how accurate it is in other markets exactly, but it's incredibly accurate in crypto. So we want to see it finish up again. And what I'm saying is that's why we need this consolidation in here. It's simply for this 3rd wave setup to be very healthy. So, we hope for that. We want that. We don't want for the market to break up directly. Although of course Twitter is going to whine. The Ether traders have been whining because their precious Ether has not been outperforming Bitcoin. A lot of whining will ensue, but I will know what to do. If we get this consolidation, and that's accumulate. So we can't always get our direct breakouts, and sometimes our direct breakouts are not healthy. All right, so that's a view here. Pretty simple. Again, I'm a little bit agnostic about whether we continue to stretch, again, because it gets a little bit cautious. But regardless, this is a great opportunity in here, provided we stay over 27,777, just rounded up to 27,700. Good enough for government work. I don't know if we'll get that low. It would be weird to not hit 32, okay? But to pull back, let's see, no, it's 50%. Let's see, it would be weird to not hit. Well, it depends where this one lands, but it would be here. It would be weird to not pull back to 34. That would be quite shallow, actually. 32 would be the 50%. That's actually quite normal as well. I should stretch out my box. So that is somewhere in that area's bottom. And then, of course, sometimes, if the kids get really scared, then they may start bailing on their leverage, and we get a quick little flush even down into 27.7 can happen, right? It's quite frequent that the market pushes in consolidation, and then after a while, the leverage people start to give up, or the positions get pressed, and then they flush it. So I love those times. As soon as I see that flush, then I start buying, okay? So Anyway, yeah, so that's where we're at. It's pretty clear. Ether, we'll go into the first the daily. I expect 10.9, 10.5, 10.9 in that region. There's even a chance up to 18. That would be a crazy parabolic move or euphoric move, how you want to put it. This chart's a little bit weird. I do slightly prefer also an AB up here. There's a lot weird going on, but by and large, we can either say 1, 2 or 1, 2 AB. I haven't labored that alternate in some kind of diagonal shape, so it does look like a diagonal structurally, mainly because this looks like 3 waves. You could call it an impulse. There is maybe 5 there, but regardless, it's a bit funky. So there's a lot of different ways to interpret this. But we are working on, I actually think it's a strong diagonal because I'm labeled the third and non-overlapping because the fourth hasn't overlapped. But possibly that we bottomed yesterday in this fourth. We'll see. If we don't, 1810 is what I'm rounding for the support level for that fourth. And below that, I assume that we are already in 2. And I will add support for that. I mean, it's probably around 1700 for that, but I would need to move my 1 here, move my ratios and all of that stuff. It's probably in the 1700 regions. I'll tighten that up. But I would, again, just like Bitcoin, I would rather it kind of skirt up to 41. I would rather see Ether kind of skirt up to 22. But regardless, again, we zoom back on the page here. We are basically, this one hasn't broken out over its range, but it's hovering underneath it and consolidating correctively. So a breakout over this range is expected. So solid action. It's worth, let's see, let me pull out the ratio here for the 618. So 618, that whole critical area for the fifth to show up is way up here. So a fifth up in here would pretty much nail the 618, which is very comfortable for that principal of the third. And that actually will stretch. No, these are all right too. These are in a good spot. It might stretch this third here, but looks to be about the right fibs. So we'll add that as we have that fifth, second, and then there it is right there. So the third, fourth, and fifth for 3600 next key target there. A lot of these pullbacks that are inside their thirds tend to be a little bit shallow. We'll see how that goes. Tend to be, but not always. All right. Less so in the 2 than in the 4s. Kind of jammed through that, but again, if you have questions on that, no problem. I mean, Ether Bitcoin pair is kind of a sick mess. Again, my preference is still to swing trade Bitcoin. I think we can almost take off this red. I put the red on just to show what a bullish reversal would look like or should look like. It does not look at all like it's playing out. The only thing we got was a quick move over resistance that I had, but we never made a lasting reversal out of it. You know, there's a discussion going on in LOA Trader about reversals. You know, like this would be example. I mean, I didn't trade this at all, but you can always buy your reversals over resistance, and then you just got to put a stop underneath. And if I was trading this pair, you know, I don't never stop out of this pair because I just trade Ether, Bitcoin, and USD. The way I use this pair is to what am I favoring? And because the trend on this is still down, I remain favoring Bitcoin until this reverses. A reversal is expected, but you never know. It may not reverse during the cycle. We'll see. Regardless, in USD, Ether looks great. So if you're holding Ether bags, you're in good shape. Best I can tell right now, nothing is broken. But it just looks like Bitcoin is going to outperform for now. GBTC, I'll scan us out to the long term. I've just been, I'm expecting 100 in this. I think the question, and we're definitely outperforming Bitcoin, of course, as everyone is goo over ETFs. The discount rate on this, and it has closed. I think we're at like around 10%, somewhere between 10 and 13 last I looked. Pretty good where we were at 40%. I do expect that to start slowing down, since the premium's starting to close. But this does look like it'll big ABC. There's a lot of long-term questions. This 4 was awfully low, very questionable. So I have a lot of questions about the long-term, but nominally, best I can tell, it should reach 100 in this cycle. Zooming in, it's been a very great trade, both for the Magic Bus algo that we use, which is a machine learning algo. Potential that we have finished to 1-2. We'll see if that holds. If it doesn't hold, I'll be buying in the 26 region. for a run back up to 35 region. So it's possible we're going to 35 directly here in the red path. Kind of looks like it as of close on Friday. But if it does break, no worries. Buy into 26. I'm just holding in here. I don't need to add here. You could, we will certainly probably get another algo signal up at like 30 on the breakout. Tends to buy breakouts if you don't get much of a consolidation. It buys down the consolidation if it gets enough of one, but we haven't seen much of one. So it'll be more of a breakout signal if we get it. Anyway, so not much to add there. Support here is 24.47 roughly. You can round it off to 24.45 or 24.50. I don't stick to these pennies. What I do with support is if it starts to sustain below it, then I stop out. But I'm mainly looking for areas to accumulate in this, mostly to average out of this because I prefer BIDO. But anyway, BIDO, let's see, and then I'll take questions. Let's see, I have not updated this. I'm always behind on my BIDO. Oh, and again, for people at home, this BIDO chart will not look like a real BIDO chart because because of the dividends, I take the dividends and add a multiplier so that we get all of Bitcoin's after hours movements included. Because if you take out the dividends, actually Bitcoin if you reinvest your dividends, basically that's what this chart reflects. It's more reliable. Most of the time you don't do that with dividend charts in Elliott Wave, but I'm doing it with this because it doesn't make sense otherwise. And let's see, we should hit, looking at this here, we should hit 20 if we do get that higher one in Bitcoin. But again, there's still a possibility that this was an anemic fifth. So we'll see. I'll take off these arrows. Support levels, if we get up that far, support level is 14. So I think that's been pretty consistent. If we get that high, it'll be a little bit lower if that ends up being our anemic first. Again, same thing, accumulate in here. I'm not doing much with the BIDO up here. But as we get in here, one thing I'm gonna do is short some puts, try to get some premium out of it, and maybe an entry if I get put into the shares. So those are my tactics on BIDO and my brokerage account. Add a little bit, sell some puts, rinse, repeat. Been a good trade. That's all I have on those charts. Again, tactics I've explained. I mean, I'm just simply waiting for a consolidation to add. Oh, I should say very clearly, I am not unlong. I'm very, very long. Just cut back a bit, hodl the rest. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm expecting consolidation, so I'm flat. For sure not. This is a bull market, so I'm hodling that core, so to speak, both in Bitcoin, Ether, GBTC, and BIDO, all of them. But again, there's all I play relative levels of long in bull markets. I still take some off, pay myself as we go. Sometimes it runs away from me, whatever. But that's my discipline in trading, is to pay myself as we go. Again, I want that to be very clear. I don't get cute with action in the bull market. It's always easy to play. All right, so let's see questions here. Let's see, could you please explain what do you think in the micro time frame? I think I did. I think I did show the micro time frame. If there's something more specific about the micro that I haven't showed you, please let me know. But I've showed it pretty clear. I mean, I'll go back to the Bitcoin micro. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe you wanted to super zoom in. I could put some fibs on this if that helps. I would be very careful with this because the structure is not very clear. You would normally expect the third to at least hit 39.7 and then a diagonal to hit 40.50 would be nominal. There are larger fib reasons to say 41. Again, this is diagonal, so the levels become less accurate, but that's a general. Hopefully that helps. I would not trade this, to be honest. Like, this is a count, but like this is not a very tradable count because of the choppy strike structure of a diagonal. I've taken my profit that I've taken, and I will accumulate in dips. And if this rolls upward, then I'm not doing anything with it. I'm hodl what I hodl. I mean, again, like getting cute in this action, no thank you. Maybe some of you guys are way way more interested. So let's see, Holt, you asked, would you repeat that level? Which level? I just went through 4 charts, so you'll have to come back to that question. Could let's see, could you give us, I guess you're saying, give us your higher time frame monthly Elliott wave count? I don't have it ready on here. I have it written up on the chart I have it written. I did the monthly in like 2021. It's never changed. It's consistent. I have 3 alts. Again, sorry, I don't have that prep for the webinar. I don't go over that because when subscribers ask for it, I just point them to the article. I have that link on my notes. You know, again, if you are subscribed, just ask for it on the site and I'll give it to you. But I don't have monthly. I don't trade the monthly. It's pretty pointless to trade the monthly simply because if you're looking at a monthly chart, you're basically suffering, you know, 80% declines, you know, which is normal in Bitcoin. You know, I mean, after Bitcoin hits 125, I do expect a drop back to 10K in a you know, over a few years. That might be our longest bear market from a degree perspective. We'll see. So, you know, that answers your question, but I don't have a chart ready for a webinar. It's not webinar ready. Let's see. Yeah, yes. So Thomas says yes, 10% discount in GBTC is correct. See, a level that you said worked 100% of the time, even Bitcoin. So 42K. So again, the 42,460. There it is, right there. 764 extension off the 1.2. That is an incredibly, like, I don't know, like, honestly, it's funny because, like, this is probably the least talked about level in Elliott Wave, but it is one of the most useful. Maybe we don't talk about that much on the Elliott Wave Trader because it's maybe less useful in other markets. But if you don't get your first of a third by 764, you either have to say, okay, we broke out into a third of a third. But the problem is if you did that without a 5 waves for the circle 1, it's very suspect. So if we break out directly without a clear 5-wave structure, I assume you're getting a C wave. And that's most of the case. So that's very, you know, but right now, so far, so good. I mean, it does look like, the question is if we drop from here, it's like, which was our 5th? It could be this being the 5th and this is a high B. So I would assume the 5th is there, but then we have to watch the support, but down at 27.6. So it's just, yeah, I mean, that's the problem, is using it. How you use it is the challenge, but it's a very, very good level. Let's see, Ryan, if we get B wave to 50, that range you see the pullback come to be, I don't know, I haven't mapped it out. It depends. Again, it's big range. It's the 764 of whatever the C wave all the way down to here. So whatever that is, you can map it out. You can imagine, you know, there's a big range for the C wave. So they can be from 50 to 65 comfortably. So you're welcome to take fibs and measure. I mean, I can eyeball it around 22 maybe, but you know, we'll cross that one, the bridge again. So I assume what you were saying is when we get, it's not a B wave, it should be an A. So we get an A wave up to here, and I assume you mean this B here. It's probably around 22, but I'm just eyeballing it right now. Cross that bridge when we get here. Don't run ahead on me, because we don't know exactly what that's going to happen. But you can pull fibs and kind of imagine where we might top in the range that I gave you, and what range was that again? 50 to 65. I'm not assuming that, but you never know. Let's see, I have been trying to chart BTC myself using Elliott Wave, and also was unsure about the 5th already completing on the micro versus an ending diagonal. Go for the what traits do you look for to lean towards still needing a better 5th? 5th should extend to like 618 of the 3rd. So you have a 3rd here. So if it doesn't extend to the, and I use log fibs, so I'm definitely not using linear. Linear, you'll get a totally different answer, which isn't reliable. So measure the 3rd and then put it at the bottom of your supposed 4th, and it should go to 618. You can see none of this did. We had an anemic 5th. It's really rare for Bitcoin to have anemic 5ths. We had one earlier in the year. Could be possible 2023 is the year of anemic 5ths in Bitcoin. Like it is entirely possible. We get that. Like one year was like every correction was a WXY. You know, and I still think Bitcoin has that tendency, but I have not seen nearly as many WXYs as in the past. So sometimes these phase changes. So a 618 extension of the 3rd, it should be the minimum. It's a minimum behavior. So I mean, just generally, like the 1s and the 5s should be 618 of the 3rd. What's weird about Bitcoin is the 1s are less so, but the 5ths are almost always are. those ones tend to be like these tiny ones. Then you get this wave 2, and then you get this explosive, insane wave 3 that breaks all of our Fibonacci norms. And then, but then the 5th comes back into norm with the 5th. So, or sorry, the 5th comes in back norm with the 3rd. So it's interesting behavior in all crypto, especially, well, all crypto in general, that occurs, but it's pretty reliable. We haven't seen that. So so this, I'm projecting this, I think it's 41 is the 7-8, it could be 618 to 786. I can't remember which levels they are, but if it fills in this diagonal, it would basically not be an anemic 5th. So there you go. So I answered that question for you. I don't have the level tied down in fibs. I'd have to do a bunch of gymnastics with my fib tool, but you can use the 618 extension. Let's see, what do you think about DKNG? That's a stock. Like, this is a crypto webinar. No thoughts. my colleagues at Stockwaves on Elliott Wave Trader, they have the chart. If I want an opinion, I look at their chart. All right. I think you asked me that last public webinar. I think I recall you asking me that. I don't have an answer for you. Please, I don't have an answer. Like, I don't have an opinion on that stock. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I know where to send you for a good chart. DKNG, that's like the digital gambling or something like that, right? Yeah, again, I have no opinion. I don't have any opinion whatsoever. All right, any other questions? All right, so let's hit these charts. Again, I'm gonna try to, we have a ton here. I mean, there must be like 36 charts here. You know, if you came here just for Bitcoin or Ether, you know, you might want to drop off, no worries. We're gonna go through these altcoins. I'm trying to look through them. Again, I'm gonna pass on things, guys, that like I have nothing to add this week, and I'm trying to be efficient. I'll call that out if you have specific questions. No problem. First one is BNB. It does look like, let's see, let me get to readable chart here. Let's see, get rid of my alerts. So it does look like it's trying for the 5th. Pretty ugly overall chart, but again, no qualms. I don't mind taking a trade in the circle 2. So we'll see if it gets that 5th, add it to. I think this one, since I've been kicked off KuCoin, I don't know if I have a place to trade it other than on DeFi, on the Binance Smart Chain. I'll have to see if I'll be able to take any trades on that, but I guess I can that way. But I already have a position on the Smart Chain, so Binance Smart Chain. So I guess the question is where I take profit, right? It's kind of been less of it. I used to trade this all the time. It's getting kicked off KuCoin. I'm not trading it anymore. Aave, I think Aave is in this 4th, best I can tell. It's broken support, but we haven't sustained yet. It's trying to reverse. So we'll see if it teases together this final move to 120. I don't have any faith in it. The problem here is that this 3rd did not hit that ideal fib of 120, so that doesn't bode well for the rest of this. But it's possible that it does pull together that 120. So we'll see. I'm not doing anything with it until I get down to 75. I will add a little bit. I took recent profit up at like 105, so I will add it 75 in hopes of getting that, in hopes, quote unquote. I hate that word. I shouldn't use it. Hope is not a strategy, but with the intent of taking it off about 140. And I probably will get completely out there or scale out as we break out from this level here, and then see what happens to the action after that. But I think it would be set for a drop into at least 30. Should be, but we'll see. Matic is worth talking about. Whoops. Matic is worth talking about. I do prefer to call it having bottomed. My long-term, I'll just flash my long-term chart. Suggests a decent shot at 10.5, so that's some giant skew. But we've got to get this diagonal out of the way first. It does look like we've got our A wave and B, so probably start adding some. I would have this one on a grid bot. I turned off my grid bot, by the way, because I'm gonna start working on my taxes early. So a lot of my grid bots have been turned off. Actually, all my grid bots have been turned off right now. I should have said that, but I will accumulate into 71. I still have some HODL, like. Basically, I have Matic on the Matic chain, so I haven't moved any of that. So I still have a solid position in Matic, even though I turned off my grid bot. LDO, pretty ugly action. I mean, it's possible that this diagonal gets a 5th. I count enough waves to call it done, so I prefer 2. So basically, as long as we're over 168, I'm gonna add a little bit this week, just a tiny bit of. But I took it off up here. I'm going to add back a tad bit and then see how this 2 forms and not mess with much of it until it gets a little deeper and the stop is really tight, which again, 168, we don't want to pass. So that is the stop area, stop region. Mask, it's not doing much. I'm gonna skip on that one. If you have mask specific question, we could talk about that. I am out of it. I announced that, but there are areas to accumulate. We'll talk about that on the board. RPL got out of yesterday. This is a breakdown of a 2. Best I can tell, it's headed down much lower, 580. So I'm out. I'm gonna take it off the weekly report since it's gonna be down for a while. We can bring it back in the future if something changes. But I'm gonna save some space on the report because I'm adding some other charts. CFX, let's see. Again, I'm not trading this one because I'm not on KuCoin. I don't know where else to get it. But looks pretty good. It just could go deeper into 11 cents. Could be a good little Forex trade, a trade with a Forex return, not Forex, F-O-R-E-X, Forex return. If you can get it lower into support. Again, I'm not in it. Runa, that's one that's left me behind. Interesting chart that we're gonna have to watch closely. I don't count this. This 4 is valid, but I don't count it likely. But if it starts topping in 3 waves, then gotta consider it. I'll just leave it on for now. 322, as long as over that, that's a little far from here, but 322 is support for a 4th, I think. Let's see, let me just double check. Yeah, that's right. Once we get a pullback, I'm going to add. I think I'm going to get a small position. But what's weird about this is there's no confluence between this 5 waves and this. So a couple things may happen. This could go vertical all the way to 96, like put in a 3rd, 4th, 5th, like stretch up into there. The way it's going, it's possible. It's also a warning that this could be a B wave. So it can top in 3 waves and then do a C back to support and then try again. So we'll see how that goes. If we don't get 5 waves, then I would be worried about that unless it continues to go vertical and gets a breakout. Then the 4th and 5th shows up here. So it's doing something weird. Regardless, congratulations if you didn't get left behind. I got left behind, and that's okay. I'm making money elsewhere, but I'm going to put on a small position and then make it bigger if we get closer to support. Now that I've sold a lot of my stuff for taxes and stuff, so again, I'm doing it early. One of the reasons I'm doing it early is because I don't want the IRS to start a wash rule. I just think someday they're going to do that, and they can do it retroactively. So I'm basically selling, and then if we're in consolidation, I can sell. I can basically buy after posting my profit in a month. So anyway, if you're wondering what that got me thinking about, I can opine on that one, but don't take it as tax advice. Anyway, that's that one. BLZ, great opportunity here. I think Jason has this one too, right? I added that one. It's basically a 1-2, 1-2, where the 2 is here, and then we have a smaller 1-2 of a third of this third here. If it holds, let's see, we give you a support level for that. So I think this is in a scale in zone, but by no means does this correction look over. There's no impulsive reversal. There's no setup here for higher. But as long as it holds 14 cents, it can be this red count, more aggressive. So we have a couple levels of support to watch, but give it some room. I mean, I don't think there's a problem with adding right now, but a big position up here, that's not great because the supports are way down here. And if you never get there, you never get there. I'm adding APT. I like the action. Whoops, I like the action off this low. I think it's just worth zooming out on this and saying, reminding you that this is quite a dumpster fire. It did hold the 764, lifetime 764 barely, which, again, I don't trade anything that breaks that because it just tends to never come back. But anyway, so I'm going to add that, and I'm going to add a small position, but it does look like it has lower to go, and support is 548. Eagle, EGLD, I'll just say that's one I'm watching, but there's nothing worth talking about. STX is a request. I'll just flash it. I'm thinking about adding to report. That's why I'm covering it in this section, but we haven't got our 5th there, so there's nothing to add there. I don't want to spend time on it when it hasn't done much. But if you have specific questions, sure, let me know. Square, lots to talk about here. It looks to me like a reasonable long-term reversal. I'm just, again, going to zoom out and say, guys, this has been a dumpster fire, an absolute dumpster fire. So do not, let's see, do not take it for granted that this can fail. It's super, super, super ugly. Let's see, that circle 2, I think I need to look at my long-term count. So I think I got some invalid stuff on there. I'll look at that. But again, I don't want you to take for granted that we have a dumpster fire, but what we do have is a completed correction and a potential impulsive reversal. So we've got to, you know, we could take a trade if we want. I'm going to add to it, but don't take it for granted, and you've got to have your stops. So I'm waiting for a correction before I add. It can be a 1-2. Let's see if we can put a support for that. So I will add a little bit there, as long as it holds 52. Okay, so that's one level of support. You can reasonably add a small position there, but I would give room all the way down to 42 just in case. And then we're talking about 82 in the third. All right, so again, don't take it for granted that the long-term chart is a dumpster fire, but I want to look at the earnings. I haven't had a chance to look at earnings because this thing started exploding after earnings. Were they good? I don't know. Take a look at it. Again, I don't trade fundies, fundamentals, fundies. But I like to know. I mean, if something's a long-term hold, then I like to know that's making money, because that just makes it the counts a little bit better, likely to at least hold, at least not break down all the time. Coin, expect lower here, but it's just been pushing. This thing just looked like it wanted to barrel downhill, and then it decided to start breaking resistance. And then we've got one final resistance at 104. The problem is I don't have a clear path, a clear structure that says it's going to 237, but that's the next level. Well, between 184 and 237 is the next level above. So if it breaks 104, I won't be earnest to add what I already have if it does break out like that, because the structure is so weird. I just don't see a nice base out of this. I will look again at it to see if I see anything. Marathon, bearish still. The only thing I would say about it is no follow through on the bear side. Certainly not a good setup for the long side. I've been holding out these diagonals forever, and they never follow through either. But basically, you know, I mean, when you zoom out on this chart, you basically have got a strong downtrend and a bear flag or bearish consolidation with lots of overlap. So I still prefer down, but you know, we'll see if it breaks over this local level of resistance, which is here. I certainly don't want to be long. I still have some puts, but those puts are burning up basically. So not fun. Doesn't matter. I'm not in giant positions here in Marathon. Hive, I'm going to take it off the weekly report. It looks like a breakdown setup. I have some Hive, but it's hedged out. I'm going to probably get out profitably with puts, not on the share side. So it's such a joke, these miners. I don't see it putting in a larger 2. I think the 2 basically top back here. Might change, but basically it looks like to me like little ABC forms here, and then it goes kaput. So it's in bad shape. I'm underlying there must be some really bad things going on. I know there's a rumor going around that a lot of miners that have been going, I think the CEO of Marathon said this, that a lot of miners have asked Marathon for an acquisition, and I assume since we haven't heard any acquisitions, Marathon looked and saw crap. Anyway, APLD looks like it's coming down towards 272. I'm not going to aggressively buy there. I'll eat up a little bit of shares. This whole setup is good as long as we're over. Let's see. Let me clear out. Let me get a clear level here. Sorry. Yeah. So it's 148. Below that, I'm just bearish. Basically, I have a big 3-wave top. So I'm going to wait for an impulsive reversal before I do major adding. But I'll do it a little bit of nibbling down here. My position on that is really, really, really small. Okay, that is all the weekly charts before we get into requests. Again, like I said, I'm going to remind you guys, I'll take more questions too right now, but before I get into requests, again, I'm going to remind you guys, a lot of these requests have been very well covered, or just really haven't done anything since the last time I covered. If you have a really specific request and I've passed over it, please let me know. You know, I just want to make this time very productive. All right, let's see. What other questions do we have? DK Energy is pumping, really pushing that one. That's great. It's pumping, cool. Got a lot of things pumping right now. All right, let's see. Following the Bitcoin cycle upwards, if this hits 100K, how much of your Bitcoin as a percent would you still maintain for long-term potential? I mean, basically, I'll liquidate my trading account. So like, I don't know what the percent is. Like, I have some, most of my HODL Bitcoin is long-term Bitcoin is in a multi-sig wallet. Most of it's in my retirement account. Now I have some other cold wallets, and I don't know what the percent is, but I just won't touch those. Like those were intentional. Like I took profit. Like basically most of my HODL Bitcoin is basically profit. Like basically I made profit, bought some Bitcoin, put it in there. Okay, I don't care. Like I can't lose anything, right? Because I can lose unrealized. I can lose money from basically net, but I'm just saying those were bought from profit. That's basically been my process for years. How much is that? I don't know what the percent is. I mean, I have to add it up. I think the question is, what is the percent you're going to do? Like you need to, again, who cares what I do? Like you need to think for yourself in terms of, because my financial means are going to be different from yours. What other assets I have. I mean, I have one thing I've built up that, over years, again, I've talked about this, is very slow moving assets like yielding cash, especially with the interest rates where they're at, a wine portfolio, a whiskey portfolio, all these, some real estate holdings and stuff like that. Like again, like I built up these things because in my life I'm almost 50 and I need like slow moving assets now. Your age and your stomach for volatility and all of that, it really should affect your decision. My percentile should be irrelevant to you, like, because there's no right answer. If you're 20, you can hang on to a lot more, right? And you're just starting your career somewhere, so you gotta decide what your risk situation is yourself. Again, like I couldn't tell you on percentile. The only reason I could say that it's a pretty small part of my net worth. I could say that. Might be around like 10% of my net worth potentially, I'm guessing. So it's pretty small in that regard. Like I more care about that net versus net worth, again, because some of my assets are not going to decline. They're just non-declining assets. I mean, I guess they can, I guess we could have hyperinflation and they can moon. I mean, some of these assets are not going to moon nor crash, I guess, again, unless the US dollar says something crazy. So anyway, yeah, sorry I don't have an answer. And again, I maintain that my answer should be relevant to you. All right, moving on to requests. So Doge, I've covered it like last week. It hasn't done anything. Again, I will post it on the board. I promise that anything I pass here, I will post on the board, so you'll get it. I'll make sure it goes on the board that is appropriate to the user that subscribes, because we got a couple boards. But Doge hasn't done anything. Still, as I said a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, it's a junkyard dog. Does it wake up in the cycle? It's woken up every cycle, but again, every cycle is different. Maybe Doge never wakes up. Okay, again, that's why I say, like, don't hold your bags too long. If your support is breaking, don't hold your bags. You've got to have that discipline. I don't know what to say about Doge. It hasn't broken any resistance. Does it start breaking resistance? Okay, maybe, but I don't like the base, like I said in the last time. I know you've seen those charts, so again, I don't want to use time up for that. But again, I'll post it on the board. If you have any specific questions, I'm game. I'll answer specific questions. Link, actually, again, I'm not big on the link chart. I really don't like the long-term chart. I've explained why, but I like this trade. So we get into support here. Support is 1088. That can be a quick little double. Like it won't take long to get to 20 if it works. So I don't mind. I'm going to actually take this trade, and then I'm going to be done with Link, guys. Some of you Link Marines. You guys love this chart. I don't, but hey, I don't mind taking a trade between 12 and 10, and then if I get a quick double out of it, awesome. Then I'll be done. I'll be gone with it. And then if it does hold correctively after this wave 2 instead of an impulse down, then what am I talking about? I'm talking about this ugly red 2 that is going to go into third wave down, unless it takes this. I'll watch for that red 2 instead, and then I'll be interested in it. But if it is taking what I think it is, hey, don't want to be in Link after 20. All right, so we'll see there. Near, I'm just going to flash it up. It's a dumpster fire. I brought it up this morning. Look at it. Total dumpster fire. I'll post it on the board so we have it. Again, I've urged everyone not to trade corrective wave 2s. I've said that ad nauseum. IMX has been covered last couple webinars. Not quality. I will put it on the chart. I'll put it on the board. None of this says to me massive breakout we'll talk about it. I'm even wasting time just using, because it's been a request the last couple of weeks. I've covered it, and there's nothing new to say about it, but I'll post it. Riots, again, the reason why would I post this? Because it's a beautiful short position as long as it's under this 2. I don't know what to say. I mean, I've got some puts. Will we get follow through out of these miners to the downside, or will Bitcoin? Now, Bitcoin should be topping, right? So maybe that's when these things get going. Marathon, Riot, Hive, when they start really firing downhill, maybe that's it. But we'll see. But I like this short. So this is probably the best short setup that I'm aware of. And I don't stare at mining stocks. But anyway, so yeah. We'll see there. Again, 1208 is where it needs to. I mean, it doesn't work too. You can get into resistance here if you want. 1143, but anywhere between 1143, 1208, it should hold. If that's going to go. If it breaks over 1208, then it's another short setup invalidated, and more likely just more chop. And perhaps again, it's waiting for Bitcoin to go downhill. We'll see. ASM, I covered that yesterday. I think the same person requested it. I mean, that's a garbage chart. So I'm not going to redo it, but questions about it, let me know. RNDR, again, like not much to say. It does look like it's getting its 5th wave. Again, not a quality 5 wave whatsoever. This is a garbage 5 waves, but you would wait for the wave 2. We'll mark that out when it get a top. Okay, not much to do. If this keeps going past this 5, then it's a big C, and you don't want to be in it. All right, another C wave. So again, like, you know, like some of you guys are so attracted to low quality charts. I mean, I know I'm harping on you guys, but again, like if you're making money on low quality charts, you know, I stand back. But this is such a garbage chart. Cake, I don't have anything. I'll just say real quick. It looks to me like we failed to form 5 waves to the next target. So I don't know. I'll have to see what goes on there. I don't have much to add to this. It's really sloppy action. We'll have to observe it. I'll cover that more on the board. I'll certainly post it today. BITF is just a long-term dumpster fire, nothing to say there. There was a question about third wave extensions, which I actually talked about earlier. Third wave extensions are 618 to 764 of the third. So I covered that, but that's actually really a question not for a webinar, especially a busy public one. That is a question for the beginner circle and for Jason to cover. Okay, but I covered it anyway earlier. It is 618 to 764 of the third. FET, I don't have any additional edge from the charts that I have posted, so I'm not sure what to add. It's incredibly low quality. Again, happy to answer any specific questions. It looks like it might break out, but again, it's a completely corrective chart. So if you want an edge, you know, it will be hard to find. Again, I'm happy if I have not been specific enough on it on past posts. I'm happy to give me your questions. I don't know what else to write about it. It's a junky piece of crap. Not, again, it looks like it will break out, but again, break out from what and to where? Those are the bigger questions, and I don't have a strong edge on those questions. I can give you the potentials again, restate them. Okay, you know, again, just let me know if I've not been clear enough. I'm happy to, but again, I'm not sure. If you want to post your question, happy to answer here and now. Best I can, I'll open it, but I'm just not sure what to say on it. FNT dumpster fire setup. Again, these two, the only reason I'm covering this is because we haven't in a while, but we'll have to see how far the C is likely to get once we have a setup out of the B. Again, I've urged you guys, it's possible too that if this stays low, that it's actually this 4 out here. But again, I've urged you guys, why do I call this? Because we topped in C, okay, that's why, and we broke support for 4. So I presume death is imminent, if not delayed only a little bit. Again, I've urged you guys, you can try to trade these wave 2s. Again, it's a bull market. Like I always ask the question, why? When we have a bull market and some charts are set for new all-time highs or look like they can do it, I just ask you guys why? Why? But you know, if you're gonna do it, you wait for a 1-2 setup for the C. Okay, simple as that. I will have no interest in doing it unless we were in a bear market. It's even less likely to work, but at least then I don't have other charts to make money on. I don't see a reason in trading a bear chart during a bull market. It just makes absolutely 0 sense to me. It's just strange, guys. Ocean, let's see, only reason, again, crappy chart. I'm only opening it, hasn't done much. It's been a chop. I prefer, this is no base for a breakout here with the triple bottom. It's not a good base for a breakout, so I still assume it's going to go lower. If it breaks over that, we'll see. But again, I don't think this, well, I know this doesn't have any clear setup for really running into this red or even this blue C. If it does, it does, but I'm just saying the setup is simply not clear. And you can see it has zero momentum. So again, I don't know what to add, guys. VA, if I was on KuCoin, I would trade this down in the 2. Expect it to just be a C based on where this 1 is. But again, we'll see. Let's see if it has topped in 1, which it looks like it probably has, then support is 5.4 cents. So you know, you can scale in if you want or wait for a reversal out of that zone. Again, it's a reasonable trade for sure. Definitely a breakout setup if it holds that 2. So it could be a good one. I still prefer the C wave over the moon count. But no altcoin moon counts works, but we just put the framework there for lower degree fibs to analyze, and it's always possible that it gets up to 32, but I highly doubt it. ETHE. See. So again, I added yesterday. I'm going to add more into 14. Support is 1386. And then what happened to my bigger fibs? I think it's 20. So I will be adding next week. I assume we'll get another low. It looks like it. Looks like another low is coming. So I'll add again into 14. Looks like 14, 15 in that region. 20 is the target above. So I'll put a yellow box here. So that's good trading. Again, I trade this one for exit only, just lowering my cost to get the heck out of Dodge, and then we'll move over to, I think I'll move over to Elliott, Ether futures ETFs, but they're not trading with much liquidity, so maybe not, but I don't want to be in this one anymore. At least not, you know, I'll take profit while I'm in a bull market, but I don't want to be in it beyond that. All right, and then we have XLM, but it's a dumpster fire. I mean, I'll post that one on the board, but not worth. I mean, and I'll give a short setup if you want it. All right, so let's see. Oh, did I miss Sol? Yeah, I did miss Solana, didn't I? Yeah, that's a really good one. Stupid me. How can I miss Solana? Because it's been a beauty. So it should be in its 4th here. Best I can tell, looks like it started. We'll see. I mean, it might. It hasn't gone very far, but it does look like 5 down into A. So as long as we're corrective in this B, should drop us into 32 region. Again, I'll just be accumulating down. I turned my grid bot off. Again, all my grid bots are off. I still have a kind of, I don't want to call it a hodl because I'm not a long-term investor in Solana, but it's in a bull market right now. So I'll add to it down in the 30 region, and then probably turn the grid bot back on if I'm past my. See, I don't have watch sale on there, so I can turn it on. Well, I'll try. I don't want to turn any grid bots on until the end of the year because of taxes. So I'll do it January 1st, but I'll just accumulate down into this 32 region. Sorry, I'm working through my tax plans right in front of you guys. All right, let's see. So we covered that. That one looks pretty good. US dollar bull run. I'm not sure what that's asking. Can you talk about the significant movement of Solana? What do you mean the significant movement of Solana? What do you mean? I mean, like if you mean long term, like this is corrective. So B wave, I mean, I shouldn't say it definitely will get a C wave to 5. Depends where the B wave tops. It's still clearly a corrective structure. I know everyone is excited about Solana. I'll take it segment at a time personally. Like, you know, this is my crazy count, but again, like no shit coin. And again, I don't, shit coin to me just means altcoin. It's interchangeable, except for Ether, because Ether survived multiple cycles. But you know, I don't believe, let's see, is it 271,000? I mean, ridiculous. Yeah, come on. It's just there as a framework for the rest of this. But this is corrective, so I expect a pullback. It's potential that this B wave gets high enough to where we come back into a higher, either higher C or a C that's pretty even with A. That's all possible. It's always possible this morphs into a diagonal, but it would need another 4th and 5th that I'm not showing. which would take it up into, you know, about 250. And if it gets that, great, and then we'll see what the corrective section's like. But keep in mind that, like, you know, Bitcoin is going to be in a big bear market after 125K. This is not going to get up here by then. So again, I don't know if that's what you're looking for significance, but I use the Solana chain regularly, but I don't always hold Solana on it. I love the Solana interface, but that doesn't mean the token has to go up in value. So, so again, there's all kinds of DeFi opportunities on the Solana chain, which I enjoy. A lot of arbitrage and stuff like that, which someday I'll talk about my arbitrage strategies, but which are more inclined towards the bear market. But anyway, so see, wave 5 isn't wave 3 on your RNDR chart. No, I don't see why it would be. Nope. Yes. SA Law still throwing the quests at me. You know the drill. Yeah, so I don't know what you're asking about the RNDR chart. I mean, if you're a subscriber, you know, post it so I can see what you're seeing, because I don't see that third wave that you're talking about. Yeah, that you can shake that chart many ways and it's all corrective crap. Doesn't mean you can't profit from corrective crap, but it's, you know, again, Solana's corrective crap, but it's corrective crap that I have intimacy with, so I know how to profit from it. But RNDR, like, I don't know what to do with that chart reliably. I mean, I know what to do with it, but it's not a trade that I'm interested in. All right, let's see, OXD, yeah, that's a request. What are the options? Let's see, what are the options to hedge Bitcoin during wave 2 pullback? You can do options. You can get put options on Bido, for example. You have, so yeah, it's one, I mean, I don't think I'll be hedging my HODL position because it's like 10% of my net worth. I think that's where I'm at. I mean, I'll do a remeasurement of that, but I don't really care. But you can do options and that's it. Or you can do futures. I mean, you can trade futures too, which I will do some of that in the service. You know, Jason and I both trade. I mean, we call futures trades all the time, so we'll do some of that. So yeah, I mean, it's, but like, to me, futures as a hedge, I mean, the futures as a hedge if you have your coin in a cold wallet. The problem with futures is that it's not really a hedge. It's linear to Bitcoin, right? So like every Bitcoin you short with futures is basic, and for every Bitcoin you're long, you basically have no P&L, right? So if you need a P&L outside of your to make up for what you're losing in your cold wallet, that makes sense. But if you have Bitcoin that you can sell, you know, selling is always better than hedging. It's more effective cost-wise. But the nice thing about options is that you have convexity. So for a small amount of money, you can basically hedge off most of your Bitcoin via that convexity. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you have a lot of learning to do on options. Because this is definitely talking about the convexity of options is well beyond this this webinar. I would actually go to Leo Valencia's YouTube channel for that. All right, but there are options on Ledger X, and they're not very liquid. You can do Bido options. You can also do futures options on CME. I find them very illiquid, and sometimes I don't get my fills, so I don't worry about trading those. But those are all options, quote unquote, pun intended. All right. Let's see, one more leg down for Solana. Okay, sure, yeah, all right. All right, any other questions, guys? That is it. That's it for me, unless you have questions, especially you subscribers that were, you posted requests that I passed on because I don't see anything productive in them. But again, I will take all of those, guys. Doge, Near, Near I'll post because I only covered it briefly. IMX, ASM, I will post them on the board, happy to. So you guys will see them, but again, and if there's some need for further discussion, we'll have it, but I wanted to make sure this is as productive as possible. And again, if you're interested in the service, check out my Twitter profile. You can get some links. You know where to find me. I will continue to post on Twitter when important things happen, best I can. Otherwise, enjoy your Saturday, and I'll see you guys later. Ciao.